All right, everybody, it's Greg Harrelson here, Century 21, the Harrelson Group, with Abe Staffa again with Century 21, the Harrelson Group, and want to share with you some the latest Myrtle Beach real estate news that we can come up with. Abe, it's been an exciting month. Can you believe we're almost at the end of January?
I know. I just looked at my calendar a little while ago to try to set an appointment. It's like, man, I can't believe it's February next week. It's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. And then we know how fast February is going to go, right? Because just it's a little shorter month, but. You know, I tell you, the real estate market, the activity is just, it's amazing. You know, I was talking to a few agents today. I was talking to one agent, Lori, in the office, and she said she wrote 4 offers in the last couple of days with her buyers, 4 different buyers, and every single one of those offers were in multiple offer scenarios. So I think one of the things we can talk about is inventory level, the benefits of inventory being low, and maybe like the cons of inventory being low, because there's some challenges in the industry also with low inventory. But one thing we know about low inventory right now is that there's multiple offers on any good listing, no matter what the price is, it's within reason. No matter what the price is, there seems to be multiple offers on, especially the residential market. But the difference with multiple offers right now is a $200,000 property. I'm just throwing out a random number. That property is going for $215,000 or $220,000 because of multiple offers. Where before, multiple offers meant a $200,000 property was it was getting bidded to full price, and then it started. Well, it was getting bidded to $202,000. Now it's not unheard of. Like if a buyer is going to win the property and get a property, they're going to probably pay $215,000 in order to win. And instead of like bidding or having multiple offers where there's just that buyer plus one other buyer, there's multiple offers where there's 5, 6, and 7 offers on the property. So for people that are thinking about selling, this is an amazing time. I'm not going to say once in a lifetime, because there was another time. I've been in this business for about 25 years, and this is the second time that I've experienced something similar to this, meaning multiple offers, bids as high as $10,000, $15,000 over full price. The last time this happened was in 2005 and 6. Now, I'm not going to predict that the market's going to go down. I don't want it to go down, and that's not what I think is going to happen. I don't really know what's going to happen, but I can tell you the last time that I saw the advantage be this severe in the seller's favor was back in 2005 and 6. And what we know is those sellers that sold at that time, 5 years later, like that, when they sold at that time, they were thinking, you know what, should I sell? Should I not sell? Maybe it'll continue to go up. The ones that sold 5 years later, they look back and say, oh my gosh, am I happy I did that? Because the market went down. The people that in 2006 that says, you know what, I think I'm going to wait another 6 months. And then guess what happened? It went up. And then once it went up, then they proved themselves right. So they said, I think I'll wait another 6 months. And then it went up a little bit more. And then I'll wait another 6 months. And then it went down. And here's what they said in 2007. Oh, I think it's just a small correction, and I think it's going to go back up again. And then they waited it out. And then 2 to 3, 4 years later, they looked back, and their property on the ocean front went from buying it for $150,000 to seeing it be at $400,000 to then selling it at $80,000. Now, again, I say that not because I think that our market's going to crash. I do not think our market's going to crash because we have so little inventory. Even if foreclosures come on the market, that'll just provide relief to the market. That's probably not going to crash the market. That's my opinion, but we'll see. You know, so I said a lot there, Abe. I'm pretty excited about this conversation, and a little bit nervous about it. Because unfortunately, I see people that wanted $200 for their property. I can get them $300 for their property now, a couple of years later, and they're still thinking, well, maybe I won't do it. And I'm thinking, gosh, you know, they're taking such a risk. But you know what? My job's to help them accomplish what they want to accomplish. but I think people need to be thinking about this.
Yeah, there's no question. So it's funny you said you've seen this twice in your career. So right now our inventory for single family home resale is the same as it was January of 2006.
Really? Wow. I didn't, and we didn't even talk about that before. That's interesting.
Which is at the lowest level, right before the, we started seeing inventory start to go back up, and then we saw a crash.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I agree with you 100%. Like, I don't know how much longer it's going to stay hot like this. I know there's still a lot of demand for this area, especially with single family homes. There's a lot of people moving to the area, but we can't expect it to stay like this forever, right? At some point, it's going to correct. I don't believe it's going to crash like it crashed last time, just because of the inventory. Before that crash, we saw inventory go from 2 months supply of inventory all the way up to, I forgot what it was, like maybe 26 months supply of inventory. Yeah, 21 months supply of inventory. So it went from 2 months to 21 months, and then the prices just crashed at that point.
And that's a really good. I'm so glad that you brought that up, because that I can remember that. Right. I wasn't looking at the data like you look at the data, because you really study it. But yeah, that's exactly what happened. It's like the 2006, you just started seeing that inventory started to increase, but you didn't see a lot of fluctuation in price. It was kind of subtle.
Right.
But then there was a point where inventory got so high, it's almost like the lights were turned off on the market and the prices plummeted, like where you couldn't get out fast enough. Like if you listed it today at $300,000, then tomorrow you were overpriced. That's kind of how it was. When it started falling, it fell at a pace that we couldn't keep up with, unfortunately.
Yeah, so the market was changing, but people's perception of the market wasn't changing as quickly.
Yeah.
So we saw that inventory start to build. So I think we're a long way from that. Obviously we're monitoring the inventory on a daily basis, as low as it is right now. So we'll be way ahead of that one this time.
Yeah. And if you have lots, if you have a lot that you're thinking about selling, oh boy, now would be a really good time to test the market on a lot, because there are because of inventory and how long it takes to develop large parcel of lands. Then we have builders and that are willing to buy lots right now just so they can get inventory up quickly to provide some sort of relief for the market. So all good things if you're an owner of the property. Now, some people would say, well, gosh, did I miss it? Is it too late for me to buy? The funny thing about today's market is that if the buyer has to pay a few $1,000s more for a property, they're going to pay a few $1,000s less on the interest that they have to pay to the bank, because interest rates are low. So it's not that sellers are really taking advantage and taking money away from the buyer. It's really that sellers are being able to take the money away from the banks. See, the extra money that the buyer is paying is going to be kind of a wash in a lot of cases, because they pay less to the bank. But the seller gets more. The buyer doesn't necessarily pay more if they look at the total cost of home ownership, not just the sticker price of the home.
Absolutely. So Greg, I've got a bunch of data.
Go for it.
I spent an hour before this call and I just looked at a bunch of different numbers, which I thought were really fascinating. Number one, in Myrtle Beach, city of Myrtle Beach, there's only 267 homes on the market right now for resales. So if you just type in the city, Myrtle Beach, in the MLS right now, only 267 homes come up. And that's everything. Manufactured homes, $30,000 homes, $1 million homes, everything together in the city of Myrtle Beach. There's 267 that are available for sale right now. North Myrtle Beach is 107. If you took Surfside and Garden City combined, there's 53. If you look at Merle's Inlet, there's 57. Pawleys and Litchfield combined is 83. Conway there's 83, and then in Longs there's 29. That's how low the inventory is right now. It's insane.
Yeah, that is that's in the, so one of the things that's come up because of this, by the way, is buyers. The number of buyer inquiries and leads has also increased. So we got more buyer leads, less inventory, And so one of the things that's tough is like it's tough for a buyer who's coming in and wanting to move down here, and they keep getting shut out. They keep saying, "Hey, look, I will pay more. Find me something," and nothing actually is on the market for them to buy.
Can you see my notes over there? Because that was the next thing I was going to talk about.
No, I can't. No.
So look, month of December, number of showings up 83.9%.
It increased by 83%.
84%, 83.9% number of showings in December increase. Pendings for the month of December up 40.5%. Okay, so right now we're sitting at a 2-month supply of inventory. Again, that's the lowest number since January of 2006. Just to give people out there an idea of what a seller's market is compared to a buyer's market, the rule of thumb is 6. So when you have a 6-month supply, that's kind of like the borderline. That's a neutral market. So anything higher than a 6 puts you in a buyer's market, means there's more inventory. Anything below a 6, less inventory, puts you in the seller's market. 2 is an insane seller's market. As you said earlier, now we're starting to see not only multiple offers, now we're starting to see offers coming in above asking price, which we haven't seen here in a very, very long time. You know, even when other markets were hot across the country and they're like, oh, we sold it 10% above asking, we did not get much of that. But now we're starting to see that in this market.
Yeah. And, I think what people, what people sometimes overlook, or maybe what we're not taught, or we're not information that's not shared, is when inventory levels get so low, then it will impact the number of total sales for a year. Okay, where you could have a hot market, but then from a seller's perspective, oh, I'm crushing it. I made so much money on my house, which is what we try to do in every scenario, right? Well, you could have that conversation, and another conversation can also exist simultaneously, and that is the number of sales has decreased in that particular city. Mm-hmm. Now the challenge is, and I don't know the actual statistic, but I'm comfortable enough kind of giving you this range. But I know that there's statistics out there that say every real estate transaction, there's around 30 to 35 additional professionals besides the real estate agent that earns income off of that. Whether it be a home inspection, a home warranty company, a mortgage person, a decorator, a Home Depot, a Lowe's. The real estate transaction is a very significant transaction for our economy. When we get to such lows that it's this dangerous, then that's where you see government coming in and changing policy in order to stimulate building so they can produce homes for people to buy, so they can start getting turn of money through the economy. And that's why it can't go, like an economy wouldn't do so well if the inventory was zero. So it's like, okay, well, when we get closer and closer to zero, at some point we know that something will change. Even if it's government policy, something has to change. Now, on the flip side, let's just say that there were no buyers. Well, what's the government going to do? In a lot of cases, if we look back historically, what they do is they'll offer first-time home buyer credits to try to stimulate, or they'll lower the interest rates to try. You see how they constantly change policy in order to influence supply and demand, trying to get it to some sort of neutral market. And when it gets this far out of balance, then they have to step in. Now, I have no clue if they'll step in, when they'll step in, what does stepping in look like. We're just sharing with you kind of what the real estate industry looks like right now and the conversations and what we're going through. Yeah,
that's a good point there. We need some inventory. I mean, you can see around town, big tracts of land are being cleared out. So builders are moving as fast as they possibly can to really relieve that inventory shortage. So we're going to see some homes hit the market. And typically as we go into spring, we usually start seeing more homes. Haven't seen it yet. It's still really dry as far as how many are hitting the market. Mm-hmm. As we see, we've got so many buyers out there that are looking, and there's just nothing out there.
We got we have buyer lists right now where we know that that when a property comes on that fits their criteria, and it's not like unreasonable criteria, that they will write a contract today. That they'll write a contract today, not tomorrow, not have to come down from New Jersey in a month from now. That will write a contract today, and they'll write a contract sight unseen. And the only thing that they'll see is an agent going in and doing a live video and talking to them. And they'll just video everything, talk to them about it, and then they'll make an offer without actually seeing it physically. They've seen it virtually.
So Greg, year over year, as of the end of December, sales price, the median sales price was up 11.4%. Since from 2020 to 2019. December, if you compare December to last December, it was up 15%. Median home sale price.
Wow. Got it. What other data do you have for us?
I've got a little bit on condos. Just want to talk about condos a little bit.
Yeah.
We kind of neglect those guys a little bit. So the condo market as well, inventory right now is 3.4 months supply. So that was it's 28% less than this time last year. So almost a third, between a quarter and a third less condos on the market right now available for sale. Month of December, there was an increase in number of units sold by 41%. So typically everybody says, no, we're not going to list during the fall. Nobody buys. There's no buyers out there. Up 41% for the month of December as far as number of condos sold. And right now we're still feeling that crunch in inventory. There's just not much out there right now. Median sales price for December compared to last December up almost 15%, 14.8%. Now that's a little bit tricky because that's not across the board. I'm not saying condos are going up. I mean, there's going to be certain pockets that had most of the gain. So there's still some buildings they've just kind of been flat, but some buildings have done really well. So if you own a condo out there, give one of us a call. We'd be more than glad to at least let you know what the numbers are now, and then you could decide whether you're ready to do anything or not. Number of showings, even for condos, up 44% in the month of December. And this is December. This is a month that typically is not a big month. You got the holiday, you got Christmas, and it was up tremendously.
Yeah, I believe it because we can see it and feel it in the traffic that we're dealing with. Yeah.
That's all the data I have. I have the usual stuff if you want to go over those. But I think this pretty much summarizes what those are going to say. I wanted to give a little bit different numbers this time around.
Okay, well, good. Well, hey, as always, I appreciate you bringing that. I think it's important to give, as much information that we can as to kind of what's going on. It's more like we're kind of sharing with the consumer, like what it looks like backstage. What does it really look like in the real estate market beyond the headlines on the internet and the social media and the local news? We want to kind of give it from the real estate agent's perspective. So hopefully everybody out there, you appreciate that. And then we also want to validate kind of our comments with data so that we're not just making it up. So again, thank you so much, Abe. This is Abe Safa over here, Greg Harrelson right here, Century 21, the Harrelson Group. There's our direct cell numbers. Please text us, call us, or email us if we can do anything for you. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, Greg, enjoyed it.
Yep.